Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's your girl Fee on YouTube, and this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. If you don't know, this is a Pro Boxing Pro Jesus loving channel. Over here we talk everything boxing, everything Christ. I plug Christ in wherever I can, and my love for the Almighty. And I also talk about whatever the hell else I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do over here. Okay, so if you're new here, welcome. If you've been here, I'm glad you're back. And I just want to say I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, my day 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, and 7s. You know what I'm saying? For sticking with me, bearing with me. I know that my videos as of late, and sometimes I have those moments are very far and few. But I just feel like if I don't have anything to talk about, I ain't going to come on here and talk. But I kind of want to force two subjects on you. The first one being Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney. My final thoughts on those on that fight. So Devin Haney has bulked up. Okay. Here's the thing about bulking up. Everybody can't do it successfully. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Devin Haney will know how to fight with all that muscle mass around his shoulders, his arms, and things like that. Like Terrence Crawford does when he bulks up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of fighters, when they put on a weight and do that, they're not really successful at it a lot of the time, because you got to know how to tote that weight, fight with that weight. They say he's been in there training with heavyweights. I don't know if that's too much going to help him against Brian Norman, as far as, because styles make fights. And everybody has Brian Norman for the most part knocking Devin Haney out. And the reason why people feel like that is because what Ryan Garcia was able to do. But supposedly, allegedly, you know, all jokes aside, and y'all know I joked a lot about it. But just in all seriousness, just talking about the sport as a whole, you know, Ryan Garcia was on some illegal substances, and that's why the loss was overturned and Devin got his O back, because and regardless of whether it's not a big deal, the substance that was in there, I forgot the name of it, it shouldn't have affected the fight, this and that and the other. Obviously it did something, because then Ryan Garcia went on to fight Rolly Romero, and you know, he got his ass tossed in that fight. You see what I'm saying? So it did something for him, because I know if Rolly Romero could beat Ryan Garcia, I know dang on well there was a chance that Devin Haney could have beat him for whatever reason. And that's just me giving Devin Haney the benefit of the doubt. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, he just kept running into Ryan Garcia's fist, you know, that left hand. You know, he didn't make no real adjustments, and I don't feel like his dad, shout out to Bill Haney, you know, I think his dad got frustrated, and the coaching part just kind of went out the door, and he just was just telling him to keep fighting, and you know, he didn't give him no real pointers and nothing like that. And that's why I always felt like, you know, Devin Haney needs a trainer added to Bill Haney, but Bill Haney is so stubborn, you know what I'm saying, and he's so determined to do things his way and have it his way that he don't feel like Devin need nobody else. All Devin need is him, man. I reckon he don't trust nobody else. And if Devin ain't mad, I ain't mad. I would like to see Devin Haney go train over there with them Eastern Europeans to get him one of those coaches over there to buy Bill. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the only way a lot of guys whose game is kind of like very bland and doomed a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I would have liked to see, I mean, I know it sounds far-fetched, but it just came in my mind, like, you know what I'm saying, in my heart, like, you know, if a lot of fighters want to switch their style, go step outside the box and train with some of these guys that's outside of your norm. The slick black fighting style is not the best style for the sport. It's been a dominant style for a while, but at this point, you know, other styles have taken over. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, nevertheless, as far as Brian Norman Jr. goes, you know what I'm saying, you know, he has that knockout power, and that's the only thing I'm really worried about concerning this fight, is the power that he has. And, you know, will Devin Haney and his jab be able to keep Brian Norman at bay? Or will Brian Norman catch him like Ryan Garcia was able to? That's literally what I'm worried about. So my final thoughts on the fight is that if Devin Haney with his jab, you know what I'm saying, can keep Brian Norman Jr. at bay, if this muscle that he packs on help to make him, you know, more sturdy, more solid in the ring, to, you know what I'm saying, maybe be able to eat some of those punches, whatever, you know, if that helps him, then great, you know what I'm saying. But if not, you know, he got his work cut out for him. I got the fight 60-40, 60 towards Brian Norman. Okay, all right, moving on. I want to talk about this thing that's been going on. This is outside of boxing, y'all. That you know, black people don't tip. I was in a restaurant business from age 16. I worked at McDonald's, Subway, and then when I turned 18, I started working in the actual family restaurant business and bars and stuff like that. And my experience as being a hostess and a server, from a hostess point of view, you learn very quickly that when black people walk in, nobody wants the black table. I mean, servers have got mad, cursed my life, you know what I'm saying, literally, you hear what I'm saying, for seating them black people. And I used to have to go report them to the manager, because y'all can't argue me. If it's your time to be seated, if you're a hostess, you know what I'm talking about, if it's your turn for your section to be seated, if you get some black people, I gotta seat you these motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying. Now, my thing with seating black people is, when you get seated black people from a server point of view, is you make sure they cups stay full, you be attentive, you make sure they food come out hot, you make sure you listen, because black people, we have a lot that we want hot sauce. Can you do it this way? Can you do it that way? It just is what it is, you know what I'm saying. Very high maintenance when it comes to eating out, because, you know, we work hard for our money, you know what I'm saying, and when we come out to have a good time, we want the food to taste good. I mean, it just is what it is. So we real extra, and everybody hates that. And then the way black people used to tip back then is depending on the service. If you didn't give good service, no, they didn't leave a tip, or they left you $2 and some change. You get what I'm saying? But here's the thing about that. How I handled that was that I hurried up and turned the table. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the black people ever sent any food back on my watch, because number one, I knew how to deal with them, and black servers ought to be ashamed of themselves, because you know how your people is, so you know what the rules is, especially for black tables. You hurry up and turn that table. Them little two, and when they in a good mood, $10 and $15 add up, and you turn that table and get their ass up out of here. You know what I'm saying? And it works every time. And be extremely polite. Make sure they food hot. You check everybody. Number one, you should be checking everybody body food. And I feel like, and let me just explain this to y'all. A lot of the reason why black people do end up being given a hard time is because when people do get black tables, right, you already got an attitude towards them, and you're not thorough in your serving them. You don't go, you frustrated that you got the table, so now you taking forever to come get our order for our drinks. No, it's true. Let's talk about how it ends up like that, because of the bad stigma that's on black tables. Okay, so now you taking forever to come and serve us the drinks. You taking forever to bring the drinks. Okay, then when you do get there, you know, you're not very polite about it. And then number three, you know, you don't come back and keep the drinks filled. You take the order. You because you got an attitude, because you got a black table on, all you got to do is just be thorough like you be thorough with anybody else. You know what I'm saying? And if it's some extraness that comes with it, you handle that. I've seen white tables complain. I've seen the white women especially complain, flip out, want to speak to a manager. I didn't order my food like this and then the other. I've seen it with white people like all the time. The worst customers I had when I was serving, I promise you it wasn't black people. It was white people. He flipped out because I set the pizza on the table, and he was mad and went off. I used to be a server, and you don't sit no hot pizza, you know, and all this old type of stuff. And all I was doing was sitting the food down. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, the rules for service is, we know when we get tables, we don't sit back and cry and catch attitudes about it. A smart server hurry up and overturn that table. Unfortunately, you're going to get customers, no matter what race they are, that's going to have a problem with how You service them. It just is what it is. I done had bad days, and I know I gave them service a hard time, and I end up apologizing, and it never affect the tip because I've been a server, so I know that's how these people get paid. But a lot of what's going on now, because black people are up on game that we know for not tipping, right? So what a lot of us are doing now is we making sure we tip. However, because that stigma is on us, and this is the part where I get redundant and repetitive. This a black table, so now you take your time getting to it. You back there arguing, talking about us to the other servers. I know they ain't gonna tip, like you making a big deal. By the time you get to the table, you have such a negative spirit on you. We can peep it. Black people notice we pick up on everything. We so deep. And now we got attitude, we ordering, and now it's just a whole bad experience because you didn't come with the right spirit from jump. Okay, you don't know if let me tell you something. 70% of black people tip. Okay, 70%. Probably about 30% don't. And the percentage that tip, they might not be good tippers. So because black people just getting up on like you really need to tip, a lot of us I notice now are like between 10 to 12% tips, when I believe now it's up to 15 and 19%. Now let me explain something to you. At the end of the day, tips are not required. So whether somebody tip you or not, it doesn't matter. They're not required. And when we were serving, we came up with the attitude like we know that we got to work for this extra money because we get paid per hour plus tips. You get what I'm saying? So, I don't think it's as bad as it used to be, but I think that the stigma is finally catching up to us, and it's being a light shed on the stigma that's been, you know what I'm saying, past. I know me and my friends and the people that I go out with, my son is a big tipper. He tipped $20, $30. Like you know what I'm saying? I would be second and my daughter would be third, but we don't play. We tip whatever the percentage is, 15, 19% or better. Period. Whether we like the server or not, it doesn't matter. If we like the server, we throw an extra 5, 10 on there. My son, 15, 20 on there. You know what I'm saying? I've never had a server not smile and break their neck for me, even if I was, it wasn't all that, because, I didn't have the best attitude, because I know that I got a tip. And when I be at restaurants and I've been going out with my black people, we have gotten 100% better. So I feel like this is a stigma that's just now catching up with us. And I think that a lot of the bad tipping, black people do everything based off of how you treat us, how you treat them. So if you already like, oh, these black and I'm being redundant again, I want to repeat it again, I want to get it through your skull. If you already got a bad attitude because you got black people, you taking forever to get to the table because you don't want them. Then when you get there, you pouring the water, your spirit ain't right, you being real bland and this and the other. All of that is going to affect how, black people feel. You might not get that 15%. You might just get 5 or 10%. And guess what? If it ain't automatically gratuitous out of the check, then you got what you got. Hurry up and turn the table and move on and hope you get something better. That's the attitude that you're supposed to have as a server. And at the end of the day, you have what you say. Speak life over your day. I'm gonna make this much, you say it until you see it. That's just the way life is. I done got bad white people tippers. I drive, you know what I'm saying? I drive for Uber. You know what I'm saying? Doing the food. I ain't driving nobody around. And, some of my best tippers don't always come from white people. Some of my best tippers do come from black people. The best comes from white people, but I get a lot of good tips from black homes as well. You know what I'm saying? So, when you y'all come below and let me know what y'all think. That's my thoughts on it. I used to be a server/hostess, so I get it. But I never really dwell on it when I was doing server and hostess. I did it for 12 years of my life. And yeah, y'all comment below. Let me know if y'all agree. If y'all used to be servers, what, so forth, or so on. And let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.